Guys, this is the dumbed down version for a 3D pop-up with a tab pull to pull the whole thing in place. I'm going to do this brief video and then I'm going to do a very brief demonstration of how it goes together. I have made these three objects and I've made them transparent for a very good reason, because you need to be able to see through them. Now, when you're making a 3D pop-up, you start off with a base image, and I'm going to pretend that's my base, a middle, and a top, and then there is usually a simple design which covers the top tabs, these top tabs being the pointy arrows on the end. Now, in other videos I've made, I have got an alternative version of this where you have a larger tab on each end, so you can put this item or this item on without any tabs showing whatsoever. Okay. So we're imagining this is our base item and I'm going to line up my objects on the top of it. But I only want at the moment to line up two objects, and then I want to take my larger slits, because they're in two sizes, so I want the larger ones, and put them somewhere in the middle of these two objects. They need to be in an overlapping space. You need to right click, arrange, and bring them to the front. And then you take the whole lot, you go to effects and you go to knockout, and if you preview it and you see these still here, it's fine, and you click OK. So now if I pull this out of the way, it has the slits in it. This one has the slits in it, and in fact there's the original set of slits, if you like, is underneath that again. What I want to do at the moment is pull this to one side so I get rid of this spare set. I don't want them there. Now your top piece also needs to be lined up, but you want the smaller set of slits because this is a smaller gap here. So you want to put that on top. But before you do that, you want to lock this so you cannot alter it. So go to Object and Lock. Then you put your other object over the top. Now it doesn't necessarily have to be in the middle, it can be one way or another, up and down, depends on the design that you're doing. And then you take the smaller slits, whoops, sometimes happens when you try grabbing small items, and you want to position them somewhere over the top of your larger slits. Let's make sure those slits are supposedly at the front. Arrange, bring to front, effects, and knockout. This is the gizmo which holds everything together, and then if you're using that and the little arrows, you would put a piece over the top of it in your design to cover up those arrows. And you would use this tab to actually manipulate it. So I'm going to cut this out and then I'm going to show you very quickly how it's put together and put in a card base. There will be no design element in this, it's just a simple construction job. Here are my pieces cut out and here is my mechanism. Now you can, as I've done here, increase the slits on the side, but I would recommend keeping them as short as possible. Put these to the outside, so fold them back so they're easier to get through your slits. So you have your design and you thread it onto here with your back piece being threaded first. Like so, and that's how it ends up. Alright, when you've got your first piece on, flick out the first two flaps and just keep the second two folded in. Put on your next object, and of course if you're doing this with a proper design, you need to make sure that your object is up the correct way. It's nothing like quite doing this and then discovering you put it on upside down. Not that I'd ever do that, of course. Haha. Right. pair of tweezers to hold my flaps flat and try and get them through the hole. There we go. And you can use your tweezers if need be to pull out the tabs again. So hold flat through there and pull the tabs out. Now this is why you have a smaller slit on the front object, because you just have to put those 2 arrows through. Now you want to flatten this and you want to glue or tape these arrows down. You want them both pointing to the middle. Now for ease of use, I'm just going to use a piece of tape. So imagine this is a penguin and this is the penguin's beak. As you can see, that is not going to cover the tabs, okay? So you have 2 options. You either make your very, very front piece much larger, or you actually make these tabs so that they are invisible one way or another. Well, that's the basics of it. To put it into the card, what you need is to have this facing in that direction. I'm going to put some hot glue, assuming I can get it out of my gun. Yeah, there we go. Hot glue on here. Oh, great blob of cold glue there. Okay, hot glue there. And you want to put it onto the back of your object. And I'm using hot glue because it needs to be well stuck, because if it isn't, it's just not going to last, okay? Slide your design flat to the right so that your mechanism goes to the left. Very important. Put it in your card, wherever it is you want to put it. And then you mark, when you've got it in place, you mark the center fold of your card and you cut that off. And this is where it pays to know what that distance is, how thick that is, because you want to do a little fold in the edge of that. Okay, you put that up to your fold line and you just put some glue on the piece that you can actually fold over. Then you quickly shut the card down on there and keep it that way until your glue has properly dried or set. So when you open it up, you find you have this, which is a bit floppy, not quite what we have in mind. But what you're going to do is to put glue on the back of there, close it, and do the same thing again. So I'm going to put my glue on there. Make sure you don't get your glue anywhere else. Quickly flop it closed, and I can switch off my glue gun now. I won't be using it. And hopefully by now that will be set. And then when you open the card, it pops up. Okay, that is the easiest way of adding that strap I have found.